evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Tuesday, May 5th meeting. Call the meeting to order and ask for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We need to amend it. Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Well, I thought you amended it. But you didn't amend it. And.
Okay, let's start over. We had a dress rehearsal. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order Tuesday, May 5th. Before we approve the agenda, we do need to take item number 5 off the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was much better. Okay, so next we're gonna have public comment. If you'd like to make public comment, I'm gonna give your name and mailing address when you hold on, come up to the podium. Keep it under 3 minutes and remember to be kind and respectful. Is there anyone that would like to make public comment? Why not?
Hi, I'm Sally Knudsen, 5200 Southwest Barnes Road, Portland, Oregon, and also 239 East Mud Road in Cannon Beach. I'm going to apologize before I start, just to say I'm a little bit wound up today. It seems there is no recourse for the respondent in a land use case when the appellant cancels at the last minute. We were scheduled for a hearing tonight in the Shelton case and only found out at noon that the case was canceled. Twice this has happened. The last time on December 9th, when I canceled my neighborhood association meeting to be in Cannon Beach and learned at the hearing that the case was continued 180 days till May, today. This behavior or tactic inconveniences the respondent, City Council, and the city. My husband and I would like to suggest that the city consider implementing a reasonable notification period for a no-show and require a tangible show cause for the delay or cancellation. The Shelton case has already consumed 10 months of our lives. Now there's a request for more time to explore an ADU in Talabana design. At this point, we are facing a total of 15 months of uncertainty, expense, and preparation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Tim?
Tim Remy, PO Box 429, Cannon Beach. I'm here to just make a couple of remarks on affordable housing. I sure hope we make some progress here. This has been way too long of a process. I think our affordable housing discussion started in 2022. And we've just got to make some progress. First of all, I wanted to just mention on the FAR reduction. It's not clear to me, and it's not clear to lots of people why reducing FAR from 0.6 to 0.46 helps affordable housing in any way. It seems like social engineering, and social engineering run amok, and it does not serve the purpose that's at hand, and we should take that to the curb, I think. I'm thinking about Bob and Penny Rice. I wrote about this a couple of months ago. $18,000 in system development charges and building permit fees for I can't remember how many square feet, but let's just say 600 square foot ADU. I mean, it's just insane. It was already going to cost them $500,000 to build this. They were going to move into it. And we just can't do this kind of madness of system development charges and building permit fees for ADUs. We can easily address this and waive these fees. And that leads me to the building fund. I'm on the budget committee. We're gonna have a chance to talk about that, aren't we, Ken?
We are.
Building fund was supposed to go down this year because we added more costs to it. We added another, I think, a half-time FTE. And it didn't go down, it went up. And this really is just madness because the building fund is money none of us can ever touch. I'm happy to give money to you, do good things with money, but the building fund doesn't have any of those features. And so if we're charging Bob and Wendy Rice building permit fees to go into a fund that we can never use, that is the definition of madness. And we need to stop that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah.
Hate when I don't have to work. Michelle Ladra, PO Box 719. So I just wanted to keep echoing. Put a cap on the STRs, put a cap on the STRs, put a cap on the STRs, please do it, put it on the agenda, talk about it at good of the order, that would be great. And then on that same note, well, not the same note, but I love to echo what Tim was saying. The meeting, the housing meeting, those housing opportunities kind of went south, I feel like it turned into, I guess, a pitch. And I had said something maybe 2 months ago about how these meetings are kind of going unchecked, the timing. And that ended up being like over 3 hours long with not a lot of headway for much of anything. So that would be nice to see on an agenda too. So put a cap on the STRs, please. Can we put that on the agenda? Can we do that? Can we do that? Okay, that's it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? No. Emma?
Amber Fowler, PO Box 657. So I obviously have the same opinions about the STRs. I think that's something we can do now. And I don't see a need to wait. But what was shocking to me was I was at the History Center on Friday for a lecture. And I noticed that on the wall, one of the articles that is prominently displayed on the wall, in the History Center, is talking about the STR conversation that started in like 1972. And so I'm like, why are we in 2026 having this conversation? And that just seemed kind of absurd. And so I thought, why do we have to talk about something for almost 50 years before we do anything that's meaningful and lasting that solves this problem? And so I just wanted to point that out because I was a little shocked to see that on the wall. I thought, oh, this isn't something that's come up since the pandemic. This isn't something that's come up in the last 10 years. This has been something that's been going on for 50 years in our community. So I just feel like, why are we dragging this and kicking the can? And I think like the woman that was here for the Kelly meeting, she made a very salient point. While I didn't like the timeshare pitch, I think that she did a great job of saying that if we keep waiting, it's gonna push it out further and further to a point that it's not attainable. And I think if we're already close to that right now, so why keep waiting? Like 50 years ago, how much easier would it have been to solve? And that's what I wanted to say. So I just would hope that we can get to a place together where we can make some effective change here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience? Art?
Mark, Gibby Forest Richard. Want to address, very shortly the, video that was published on, last Wednesday regarding the, Dunes Coalition. And how the fire district was involved in that. And, we were, very briefly, contacted, a month or so ago and asked to be, involved in this video. And there was quite a discussion about it with our board. And through some hesitation, we ended up doing it with the understanding it was about dune safety and, access and such. I don't think any of us, I didn't really have any idea that this was really a political video. And now it is, and it's very much. So I want to make a statement from the fire district, that we as a fire district do not want to be political. We are neutral. that is not the stance of the fire district. I want to apologize to the city because I feel we're in this video, was some negative to the city. And that is not the intention of fire district. We've asked to be taken out of that video, the video be taken down, that be taken out of it. And I would really like to see that happen. We're neutral. We have no political involvement, and this turned into a very political meeting. So I just want to stand in for the city and the citizens, sorry for the video, and I hope we can have that video very soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr.
Anybody else in the audience? Okay, is there anyone on Zoom? Please raise your hand, please.
Yeah, Diane Turner.
Good evening, Dan.
Hello, Diana Turner, P.O. Box 211, Cannon Beach, Oregon. Mayor and councilors, I am speaking tonight on behalf of the Friends of the Dunes at Cannon Beach, a grassroots group working to protect our coastal resilience, scenic beauty, biodiversity, and recreational opportunities for residents and visitors alike. 12 years ago, our group formed in response to our neighbors at Chapman Beach's application to bulldoze our dunes to improve their views from inside their oceanfront houses. This application, coupled with Breakers Point's more frequent applications to bulldoze or grade our foredunes, led to a 5-year process as our community wrestled with understanding the science of our littoral cell and dunal ecosystem, while striving to preserve as much of the dune's natural process and strength while balancing the competing desires of various factions within our community. As those of you who journeyed with me through those difficult 5 years of endless meetings knows, it was not a unifying experience. Just like the 2 recent initiatives, this revision processes, unfortunately, seem to only solidify divisions within the community. Since then, the Friends of the Dunes community and I have continued to learn and advocate for our dunes and shoreline. Every day I'm in contact with academics, geologists, engineers, state regulators, environmental attorneys and advocates, the people who've devoted their life's work to understanding and stewarding our coast. Like today, I participated in the development of Governor Kotek's plan for a resilient Oregon, focusing on coastal hazards and how to build resilience within communities. And with our state's many experts, I've devoted over 50 hours serving on OPRD's Rule Advisory Committee to update the state's complex shoreline regulations, incorporating the latest science and best practices while upholding our beach bill. And ironically, in light of this new initiative's claims, over the last few months, I've collaborated with the Cascadia COPES Hub, OSU, U of O, U of W, OPRD, DCLD, ODOT, DOGAMI, Washington State Ecology, Oregon Sea Grant, and environmental nonprofits and attorneys on the creation of educational materials on nature-based solutions for erosion control. While these materials won't be released for a few weeks, I can share a small sneak peek. One of these solutions with the longest history and best success rate is dunes enhancement, which basically means building dunes like the ones we already have, using the same beach grass and dune grasses and native plants that we already have. Because these dunes with these grasses and plants make us the most safe and protected. All of this is to say, if there's a question regarding the dunes, I have the answer or know the expert to ask. And if this initiative passes, I look forward in joining you in the years ahead during this long process. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on Zoom? No. Anybody else in the audience? Okay, thanks very much. Okay, so our first item on the agenda is a presentation by Ecology.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Recology Western Oregon annual report and proposed rate increase is before you tonight. The background, Dan Blue, Community Relations Manager from Recology Western Oregon, will present the annual report to the City Council along with their proposed rate increase, which will be effective July 1, 2026.
Thank you. You want me at the podium, Mayor? Here's okay?
Yeah.
Great. Well, good evening, Dan Blue, Government Relations, Community Relations Manager for Recology Northern Oregon, but I also support our Ashland area a little bit as well. With me in the back I want to introduce Sean Lamont. He's our new operations manager. So he manages all of our North Coast operations out of our Warrenton site. And next to him is Claire Wolcott. She is our newish waste to zero specialist, and she supports all of our communities at the coast with education outreach. I'll talk about that a little bit in the presentation. Next slide, please. So tonight we're just going to go a little bit over. We're going to kind of shift things up from the last couple of years and jump right into the rate review. And then I'll talk a little bit about some operations updates, Recycling Modernization Act update, those kinds of things, and then answer any questions you have. Next slide, please. So yeah, jumping right into the rate review. Unfortunately, this is another CPI year. We are seeking a 3% rate adjustment across all of the rates. And the primary drivers on this are fuel, which I think everybody kind of recognizes has been a challenge. Pretty big hit to our operations here at the coast for fuel. Labor rates are continuing to creep up. They also kind of tie to inflation. And then there also is a tip fee increase at Cowlitz landfill, the headquarters landfill in Cowlitz County. Those are the primary drivers for our rate adjustment. What this would look like as a CPI adjustment is $1.02 a month increase for the 32-gallon curbside customer, and $1.90 a month for the most common customer, which is $1.90 customer curbside. Sorry, and that includes your recycling services. So just a little bit about the rate review process, and this might be a repeat from last year for many of you. For our annual financial review, we submit reports by April 1st to the city manager. Those reports include our actual revenues and expenses from the previous year, as well as projections going into the current next 12-month cycle. So within our franchise agreement, it's a cost plus model where allowable costs plus a reasonable operating ratio are built into the rates. So in your council packet, you should have a cover letter from us, our annual financial report, which shows previous and projected, as well as the changes in the middle. There is also the full proposed rate sheets to be effective July 1. And then also our third-party financial review of our collection company here at the coast. So we can switch to the next slide. I just want to show you highlight what the rate adjustment would be for that 32 and curb customers circled, as well as the 90-gallon curbside customer. That's what the residential rate sheet. That's an excerpt from that. Next slide, please. And then here is what that 3% impact would be for commercial businesses. So then next slide, I can handle questions on the financial review at the end. I just have a few more slides. As most of you know, we're a 100% employee-owned company. We're very proud of that fact. We serve 138 communities up and down the coast. Up and down the West Coast. Within Oregon, we have 3 compost facilities. We operate 3 transfer stations of our own, including one in Astoria. And then we also operate Metro's 2 large transfer stations in the Portland metro area. And then we have 5 collection companies within Oregon, including North Coast Collections here. Next slide, please. This is just a visual of the communities we serve here at the coast, between the collection company, our transfer station. We also have a small satellite yard in Nehalem where we have a couple of truck stations and a couple of drivers that live down there and serving our Tillamook County jurisdictions. Next slide, please. Just a little bit about our Waste Zero services. I know Claire was able to participate in the 12 Days of Earth Day recently, and I'm really happy that she's able to support the community that way. We do a lot of different events here at the coast. Beach cleanups, everyone's familiar with. Nehalem Estuary cleanup, We also do compost giveaway, which I think Claire just did. And we collaborate with a lot of different organizations here. Coast. Couple of programs I want to highlight. We have our Coastal Oregon Artist Residency Program. It's been going on for many years. Claire will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe applications are due here in the next 10 days or so, Claire.
Just ended and we already have introduced it.
Okay, just ended, never mind. So we're really excited about continuing that important program. It's sort of a signature program for Recology. I also want to highlight that we did our Earth Day poster contest again this year, where we had students submit posters, and we had a contest and selected one and ended up on the t-shirt for Earth Day, which is pretty cool. Next slide, please. This is just to reinforce our artist and residency programs, and it's done in California and Washington and here in Oregon. We have seen thousands of amazing pieces of art produced from trash that would have ended up in the landfill. So that's what this slide is illustrating. Next slide, please. Just a couple of updates on the Recycling Modernization Act. This is the Senate Producer Responsibility Law that went into effect July 1 of 2025. And it didn't see a lot of changes here for Cannon Beach, except that we have now implemented the uniform statewide collection list, which means people who live in the valley and come over here should see the same exact list of materials that they can recycle in their curbside carts. We added a couple of materials under the USCL list. So now you can put nursery pots in your recycling. You can put gable top milk cartons or aseptic containers, kind of like what almond milk comes in, shelf stable containers. We did take foil off the list because it just burns up when it goes to the recycler. So it doesn't contribute anything to the end product, so to speak. So that's some of the changes that came up. You are probably going to be able to benefit from having an expanded recycling depot paid for through the RMA funds. It's called a Recycle On Center. If you go to the next slide. Our Ashland Recycling Center was the first one in the state to get one of these boxes, and it's there to provide recycling options for hard to recycle items like styrofoam, plastic film, 6-pack beer, rigid plastic holders, and a few other items. And we don't service that. The Circle Action Alliance, the third-party producer responsibility organization, will provide those services at no cost to communities. So hopefully one of those can go into your recycling center here. Yeah.
A potential.
Potential, and I can connect you with the right folks there to talk about that. So that's exciting. And then I think, next slide, I wanted to touch on some customer service changes. I'll be honest, like when I first started 3 years ago, it took a long time to get through to our customer service team. We've identified this, and over the last 18 months, we've worked very aggressively and very happy to share that our hold times now are averaging 30 seconds compared to, well, multiply that by a larger number and you get to where we were a few years ago. This is now sustained over 6 months at 30-40 seconds. Sometimes it goes up first day of the week, or billing just went out. It does fluctuate, but on average, we're hitting those low hold times. So we're really proud of that work. The other thing I wanted to share is that we're dealing with a 40-year-old customer account system. And we're a 106-year-old company. It's taken us a little time to get to this particular part of the modern age. We are updating to a modern customer account system here midsummer, and that is going to provide a lot of benefits to customers in terms of better information about when their truck is coming to pick up their carts, quicker access to information when they do get on the phone with our customer service team, an improved billing system. There's a lot of benefits both internally and for our customers. There'll probably be a little bit of a transition time where it's going to be a little challenging, but this is not new to Recology. We've done this in other sites within our company, and so we're learning from those experiences each time we convert a company, and we're going to do that this summer. So I think next slide. That finishes it off, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have questions?
No, I appreciate the expeditiousness of that. That was nice. But I did have one question. The additional depot you're
Yes.
talking about the RNA?
Yes.
Is it 35-foot Connex? Is that what that?
No, that one I think was a 8 or 10 by 20.
Oh.
So they're pretty tiny. Take up a small footprint, like maybe a parking lot or a parking spot and a half. We actually are looking at maybe sliding one into one of our transfer stations just as it fits, if that's me.
Okay, what do you have to do to get them?
There's a relationship with Circular Action Alliance, and so the city would probably need to sign an agreement with them, do sort of a financial contract where the nice thing is they do provide servicing of the container, no cost for the container itself and the equipment within it. And then they also provide 0.25 FTE of an agreed upon FTE to keep eyes on it, open it up in the morning, shut it down at night, and it would be tied to the same operating hours that you already have. So there's no additional cost. It's all funded through the packaging manufacturers through the CPR program. Yeah, kind of cool.
Good, yeah, good potential.
Right.
Other questions?
So fuel is budgeted up 26%.
Yeah.
Health insurance budgeted up 17%, lower than national average.
Yeah.
Prices will hold steady and or be reduced once gas prices go down and we solve the health insurance thing, right?
If I could solve all of those problems, I would maybe have a different pay scale. No, I recognize this is the third year in a row we've come in for an increase. What I do know is we've tried to stay within CPI, and we do that, to your point, to try to avoid future bigger jumps, bigger requests. And I can tell you, Metro Region has raised it 10% per year for the last 4 years. And we're trying to just stay in front of that. It's never fun to have to come ask for a raise on the rates, but we're trying to do our best to keep our costs low and avoid, those bigger fluctuations that are harder on customers.
I think you've done a good job despite those challenges.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
At the beginning of your conversation, did you say when the rate increases?
July 1st.
That's what I thought, but thank you for the.
And that is stipulated through the franchise agreement. It's not one of those things where if we're asking for a larger than 4% increase, you'd ask for a vote. This is part of the franchise agreement, and so it's kind of an automatic adjustment, but we like to come and share it with you and answer any questions you have about it.
Well, I would just like to say thank you to Recology's efforts in our 12-days birthday. It's a pleasure to work.
Thanks. Back all those to Claire. Let that go right past me, please.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay.
Okay,
Thanks very
thank you
much.
for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have resolution 2604 for creating interest in the Arts Commission Public Art Policy. Bruce?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Result of ordinance 24-07, which expanded the Tourism and Arts Commission purview. The commission has prepared a draft public art policy for the city council's review and consideration. Public art policy is made up of guidelines for the purchasing and procurement of public art. It is not the actual criteria. Specific criteria and additional details will be included in the call for action. Staff recommends adopting resolution 2604 and recommends the motion. I move to approve resolution 2604, creating a tourism and arts commission public art policy.
I move to approve resolution 2604, creating the Tourism and Arts Commission and Public Art Council.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Councilor Strander,
Yes.
Councilor Hammond,
Yes.
Councilor Hayes,
Yes.
Council President Kirk,
Yes.
Mayor Knopf.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Next, we have a couple of proclamations. The first one is to declare a National Public Works Week, May 17th through the 23rd.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Since 1960, the American Public Works Association has sponsored National Public Works Week. Across North America, more than 30,000 members in the US and Canada use this week to energize and educate the public on the importance of public works to their daily lives, planning, building, managing, and operating at the heart of their local communities to improve everyday quality of life. This year's NPWW theme is Rooted in Service, Powered by Community, which acknowledges that the roots of service run deep in public works. It's what has propelled public works innovations that have helped our communities evolve into places where they can lead lives of purpose and possibility. Some work, like building roads and bridges or water lines down Highway 101, are highly visible, while other public works contributions, like maintaining water and sewer systems, are sometimes hidden from view. Together, these efforts form the foundation of thriving communities, reminding us that every project, seen or unseen, powers the connection between service and the people that it supports. The city of Cannon Beach would like to acknowledge its Public Works Department for the hard work and dedication given during any hour of any day when needed to support our city. And there's a suggested recommendation for the adoption of the proclamation below.
I move to adopt proclamation 26-08 National Public Works Week.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Counselor Hammond,
Yes.
Counselor Hayes,
Yes.
Council President Kerr,
Yes.
Counselor Ostrander,
Yes.
Mayor Knopf.
Yes.
Are we gonna have a get together or something?
We'll work on that and we'll let you guys know.
Yeah, we did. And I think that a lot of us haven't had a chance to meet all the public works people who work for the city, and it'd be great, we had a lunch one time, which was really great. You got to talk to people and meet them, so.
I'll clear it with my boss and we'll make it happen.
Okay, let us know.
Yep,
We would like, you guys do a great job.
awesome.
Any day, any month. Any.
We just
Thank you.
had-
Still a little busy right now.
They are, we will this right now. But yeah, we could do it if possible, do it during that week, but whenever.
We'll make it happen, yeah.
Okay, great.
And Public Works team is very kind as well because we're willing to share National Public Works Week with EMS. Thank you.
Never had an introduction like that before.
Chief Brennan should be doing this, but, we're gonna be doing its consideration of proclamation, 2609 Emergency Medical Services Week. It's, May 17th to the 23rd, 2026. The 52nd anniversary of EMS Week theme is improving outcomes together, improving outcomes. Together extends beyond medicine. It's a collective responsibility that involves investing in the people behind the care with fair pay, safe staffing levels, mental health resources, leadership that listens and acts, and opportunities for professional growth. This week, we recognize the people behind the patch and reaffirm our commitment as partners and communities to improving outcomes together. Representatives from the emergency medical services are asking the cities across the country, including the city of Cannon Beach, to adopt a proclamation and designate the week of May 17th to the 23rd as Emergency Medical Services Week. And we recommend that the council adopt said proclamation.
I move to adopt proclamation 26-09 Emergency Medical Services Week.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call please, Jim.
Counselor Hayes.
Yes.
Council President Kerr,
Yes.
Counselor Ostrander,
Yes.
Counselor Hammond,
Yes.
Mayor Knopf.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, councilors.
Okay, then we're gonna move down to item number 6, discussion item, modular acquisition, relocation and installation. Bruce?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Cannon Beach Food Pantry moved out of a modular unit at the elementary school due to poor conditions of the structure. They were allowed to move into the existing classrooms on a temporary basis. The old modular structure is ready to be removed from the Nakus site. Bids have been obtained for this work and it is scheduled for next Monday. At this point, we do not know if the ground conditions under the old food pantry and it's about its under the old food pantry and its suitability to host a new unit. We do know that there will be significant utility work for whatever takes its place. The existing portables housing City Hall and for a while, the police department will be vacated in the July-August timeframe and become available for purchase and or relocation around that time. That creates potential opportunities, though they may be less than desirable at this point. The longer we wait, the more options we will have. But this is kind of going against that. We have received proposals for purchasing and relocating a 24x60 portable that has been used for the City Hall and formerly the police department. The purchase price of the used unit is $173,000, and the cost to relocate the structure adds $83,000, for a total of approximately $256,000 at the Nicus location. Figure does not include ground prep, the cost of removing the walls within the modular, or utility the relocations. This opportunity has its issues. Ultimately, there will be many choices regarding the location of the food pantry, the availability of one of the portables currently in use for City Hall and PD construction makes two options available for the relative short term. Option one, move the modular to the site of the recent food pantry. This can be done at an estimated cost of approximately $256,000 plus ground prep and utilities. This option will block the view that removal of the current structure will open within the next couple of days. Option two, purchase the unit at $173,000 and leave it in its current location as a new home location for the food pantry. Food pantry has indicated that the current Nicus site is the best location for their operation. Also, leaving the unit in its current location has parking seasonal implications. Recommendation, we'll get to that in just a second, is the new development. And that's the in the meeting last week, it was recognized that if the food pantry were to stay in the classrooms, at some point, they would have to vacate for several months while the classrooms were renovated or torn down. At this point, we don't have a potential location to put them during that time. And this could be a factor in the decision that you make tonight. And Tina's here from the food pantry, and you want to make any comments?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you would, because this is a knotty subject.
One of the main things that here, I'm sorry, that was the first to address is at this, we're in a temporary facility, our permit is temporary, and we do not have running water. We do not have running water, so that doesn't allow us to obviously wash a lot of things that we did in our prior location. We can't package food the way we did, sugar and coffee, we break down into smaller packages, we can't do any of that. So we're concerned with how long it would take us to get to water if we stayed where we are now, not to mention having to move and find another location. The space of the portable that's suggested is 360 feet, square feet, smaller than the one that's going to be knocked down. So that's doable for us. Our only concern with actual using one of the portables is the height. It would have to be, we would have to know that it could be lowered because we can't do the ramps. We moved, I forgot, I wrote it down, but 8,500 pounds of food last month. That's once. Each one of those pounds gets moved at least 4 times. Coming and going. It's tennis balls, it's health, it's all the things that can. So we can't physically move things up and down the ramp that goes, back and forth and back and forth. So that would be one thing we're concerned with. When we met with the city, your proclamation for the city board guys.
Hey, this is
Serious, it's good.
Yeah.
Stop. And you have an apparatus, you know?
See that part.
The lady was tired.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then, well, yeah. She rolled her eyes at Gary. Yeah? She rolled her eyes at Gary. Where's Gary now? I need to.
Okay, that's very cheap.
This is something we get to witness at our current location.
Yeah.
As well, but
Yeah.
yeah, probably not. Anyways. Our main goal at the food pantry is to feed people and not miss a week, which we haven't through all of the things that we've done. In the past, starting in September, it's just been a whirlwind for us. We haven't missed a week, we haven't missed a client. We found 256 families last month. And that's, I'm sorry, I didn't remember all of these things, but we're feeding 3 meals a day. So 256 families, 3 meals a day, that's what's up. All of those people either work or live in this community. The majority of them are employees in this community, which obviously keeps everything running here. So we're open to suggestions. We're open to lots of conversation. We had a good meeting with the city and the public works guys, who have, again, as I was saying before that, the public works guys have just been phenomenal through this. Trevor has answered. Eventually, he's busy, there's a lot going on in this town, he's answered every phone call, and helped us along the way with everything that we had to do, and we really appreciate that. If you have any questions, obviously there's tons of questions going forward, but here we are trying, again, an emergency organization in an emergency situation. Because our permit was 180 days and that was in January, so we're gonna have to reapply for for temporary location in classrooms. Any questions? Thank you. Okay, have a discussion. If you'd like to say.
Is there any reason why we can't demo the old food pantry building prior to the pull the trigger on the rental unit, to see what exists in utilities and groundwork on that site?
It's happening on Monday.
Oh, it didn't have.
Right?
Monday or Tuesday.
Yes. How much is it?
Okay, so after that, we'll have a better idea of ground conditions, maybe. Leaving this conversation here, probably, certainly.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have that third figure of what it would cost to site it in the same place, but it also is.
We had that.
No, the utility costs, I think it's.
It's all the utility
Well,
costs.
the utilities, it's gonna be for the entire complex, but that particular location is very low, so we don't have to have no gravity.
I would just, we're in the middle of this process of designing that whole site. It feels like we shouldn't be making a decision on that until we see what the plans become. And was there not a discussion about the possibility of if the classrooms were to be saved, and the food pantry could be moved to one end while the other end was renovated? Is that even a reasonable expectation?
It's possible, but it'd be difficult because the walls need to be reinforced for seismic purposes. So you're really gonna be tearing up a lot. And it might be easier for them to do like the whole elevation rather than do a part of it and then stop and go. But anything can be done.
So I think, and we did talk about that. But I think we're kind of putting the cart in front of the horse on a lot of this. Because of, the new, whatever's gonna happen there. Per a conversation that I had with Bruce, when the temporary permit was given, it's absolutely renewable. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. I do understand needing water. And it would be interesting to know about what that would cost. Because even if we decided to keep those buildings, it's still gonna need water, right?
Water is cheap, getting rid of the water is expensive.
Well,
Yes, that would be putting in the sewer system before we plan to. But it's possible.
but is there a way to work around that? Chris is nodding and raising his
The
hand.
current plan right now included in the scope to demo that old food pantry building will actually be a 4x4 pressure treated post with a 3/4 inch like exterior spigot. So there will be water, but it won't be available in the classrooms. All that infrastructure is gone. So there will be water on site, but it's through an exterior host. So that's what we can do right now.
So it's better than nothing. I know it's difficult for you guys, and I know you do a lot for the community. But at least there would be some sort of water there. I wonder how much it is to get a washing station.
There's, self-contained, like an eye wash station.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they're-
they're a little bigger than that, but I wonder how much something like that would be in the interim. And it would probably be clearly less expensive than digging a sewer line and putting everything, you know, so the water goes where it's supposed to, the wastewater. But it would be interesting to see how much one of those washing stations would be, so you could actually have a little dishwashing station, have a hand washing station. And that could be filled from that spigot. And then it would be serviced like a porta potty. I'm sorry. I mean, it would be good to know what those numbers would be. It's not perfect, but
You mean as a temporary solution,
yeah,
just until a permanent,
until we can figure out what's gonna, I think we need to figure out, like Gary's made a very good point. We need to figure out what's going in there and what we're gonna do before we spend a whole bunch of money when we could have some temporary, albeit them not perfect, temporary fixes. And then we can make those decisions on, you know, a monthly or a bi-monthly basis on how we move forward.
this is what I remember it was part of the park design. The food bank was incorporated into our request, right? But we wanted to see the food bank incorporated somehow into that park design, whether it be in a new place within the park, in the old place within the park, but somehow, not that we pay for it out of money for the park, it's a separate budget, but that it actually be part of the design, am I correct?
Yes.
Is that what you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, so since we haven't even gotten to that point yet, I don't know,
The reason this is coming to me now is that the modulars are going back to the company that we rent them from, probably in August. And so there's the opportunity, if you want to go ahead and try to get control of this one, it's possible to do, now's the time to do it. The rental, if we just want to go ahead and buy some time, is $4,200 a month. But I also think it'll be possible, later on, that if we decide to put a portable on that site and we don't do it now, I think we would probably be able to get a hold of a used one, or we could buy a new one because we want it to last, 20 years. So we could do something later. This was just a chance to do something now,
yeah.
is all. It's not, that's what I said earlier, it's not necessarily the best idea, but it's time sensitive.
You just wanna give us that option.
But we could
I
rent
would
it.
rather see us wait till whole park design is done and do something temporary to alleviate issues in the current temporary site.
So with the potential option of renting it, what does that change for relocation costs for this? Cause it wouldn't be a permanent installation there. If we were to continue renting at 4,200 a month on that, we. Obviously, the transportation, relocation, transportation pilot cards cost would still be within that budget, but what of the rest of this? Wouldn't be in those expenses?
What happened is that we would be able to get water to it, but we would not be able to get wastewater until the rest of the project was done, and we could kind of be part of that. But we can do it with, pumping services. And that's what we're using now. We don't have a sewer line. And so it would be possible to do that for a period of time. And that's probably between $500 and $1,000 a month.
But if we continue to rent that building, if we continue to rent the modular, why move it? Doesn't need to be moved until we purchase it. We wouldn't need to move it over there. Why couldn't it stay down there where it is? Temporary city hall is still down there.
Well, we'll be out of there in August.
But what are the chances of them? I mean, are they gonna take that? So that's
They're not gonna take it till.
the modular that you're talking about.
Right, it's the one that's done in the police department.
Mhm.
Cause the other one is too big, and it goes out onto the road, it goes around the north side.
But you think, I mean, it would seem to me, I mean, is it that difficult to find a used modular a few months down the road that we can just purchase or a brand new one?
Well, I think a brand new one would be easier, I've never tried to buy a used one, but, it just depends on how hard it's been used.
Is modular the right option anyways? Is we're hearing from the food pantry, for the most part, every time I see these modular buildings, they're designed to be picked up and moved somewhere else at some point, eventually. So they're not low enough to not require ramps and stairs to get into.
If we can get them lower, what they do is they take off the wheels, so it sits lower when you put it in position. But I don't know how much lower, but it would definitely make the grade on the ramps less extreme. So instead of this, we would have this.
Why a modular at all? I mean, why not just a?
Slab on very purpose
Yeah.
built.
Then we've got all kinds of seismic stuff.
Oh,
Right, so, and lowering the building is going to increase the cost of insurance. Because you're taking more risk. I could be wrong about that, but I feel pretty confident in that statement. So there's going to be a lot more cost and the building that's there is going to have to be seismically upgraded
if we put it.
if we were to keep it there. So any building that we put in there, we have to look at that cost.
And
as well.
modular doesn't have to.
Right, and so if, and I know this isn't I know it's nothing is perfect, but if the food pantry relocated, and I know this isn't a popular conversation, I'm known for those, but if it relocated down to where the modular is now, and we could bring that modular unit down so it was a better grade, the city could potentially work on any parking issue that there might be down there, so on Wednesdays, there could be a flow of traffic without being too impeding. You know, you've got the summer months are bad getting to the current pantry, I mean, it's difficult to get around town. Like I said, I know it's not a popular option, but I think we need to keep our mind open about, I think we just need to have an open mind about how we're gonna move forward, but I still agree with Derek that we need to figure out what's.
I think that should be a consideration if it can be lowered. It should be, you know, an option that we should look at. But in general, I just feel like, you know, right now we have with it's like 1,500 square foot unit there. Ready to be utilized for $173,000. It seems like there's some kind of opportunity there, and I don't know for what. But just to remove it and scrape the site and, seems like it would be a waste, so. Things just aren't happening in the right sequence here to make decisions.
No, I'm not, I really don't, I don't wanna see the food pantry move to the side of the current module, and one of the main, there were several reasons given to us by the food pantry, why they didn't like that action, it all made sense to me. And so I just don't, if they don't want it there and have good reasons for it, then I would support them for it.
And I would support that too, but, I know that, and again, not gonna be popular, but, if the food pantry wants to stay there, then maybe they should help support the cost, because it's gonna be more costly to leave them there.
Well, number one, I think the city has the money to do it, so I don't think that's an issue. And the other thing is, I don't think Henry has the money to do it. Where are they gonna get the money to help
Well,
defray the cost?
they do have substantial reserves over operating costs.
Yes, but those reserves are in case something goes awry, which can easily happen, and they can't get food to give to people, and they, or something goes wrong with some of their supply chain. I don't know, I think it's one of the most valuable things that we have in this city, and I'd like to see it continue where it is, and if it costs another $100,000 to do it, that's money well spent.
Well, and $100,000 is one thing, but the seismic upgrades and things is going to, it well
I'm
exceed that.
talking over no, you don't need to do seismic upgrades to the conning spots.
Well, no, but I don't think that, and it may be required there may be extra requirements there, and that would be something that would be, that we need to find out, right, before we make a decision.
We can find that out, and I'm not sure, it's only a year old, so the rules have been in place as far as the flooding and that kind of thing, so it may already be set up for that. And that may be a minimum requirement that they're above, base flood elevation or whatever. We can do some more investigation, or if you want to, kind of buy some time, we could potentially say, don't take that one away yet. It wouldn't necessarily be in use, but for $4,000 a month, if we could try to get a reduction if we could, we might be able to keep it there until we're further along in our plan.
And to be clear, the one that is being proposed to be kept is the one that PD was in.
PD and
And so the smaller one that's towards the back.
Not the one we were in today.
Yeah. Yeah, so by opening, when that larger one, the one towards the west gets moved, we would have traffic flow through that portion of the parking lot instead of now where the ramp and stairs and everything to the first building block.
In terms of parking.
Yeah, in terms of parking.
Yeah.
I don't know how efficient it will be, because
Oh,
I can picture the space, but
Yeah.
we could get some cars in.
And there would be parking, more parking than currently exists that would open up.
And I'm sorry, Bruce, how much is it to take out the existing modular? Did you say 83,000?
No, that was to move that one over here. What else did you get 15?
To demo the
Yeah.
current food pantry,
Yeah.
well, I had to abate it first. So there was cost there.
Right.
And then, the cost to, demo is just under 20,000.
And how much was the abatement?
The abatement ended up just north of 10,000.
So 35, maybe just call that, so that's one, and that includes the hall and everything.
Does,
Right, yeah, and what happens with, so ground testing there. Does an architect have to be on site? Or not an architect, an archaeologist?
I don't know, and I don't know what's under, I don't know if it's gravel, if they poured slag, or what it was, so long, nobody knows, so. If it's something that we could just go ahead and set something on, it'd be fine. If perchance we wanted to do some other kind of construction there, and we had to remove a slab, it would be involving the architect.
I guess if we look at Nikus, whatever we do, whether it's trying to save the portion of the school rooms or put a different modular there or the same modular there, the food pantry needs a place in the interim. Does the portable work as a temporary location? I guess, you know, there's some concerns about the elevation.
What are you talking about here?
Here. I mean, I
Can I ask why, I'm sorry, Gary, but can I ask why there's so much trepidation about moving the food pantry? I understand the location where it's at, but I just feel like it's a stumbling block, like it can't be moved, and I guess I just wanna understand why.
I wouldn't mind looking at that list as well. I know there were several reasons, privacy, etc. Let's make sure that we're all looking at those.
Privacy is a huge one, and the way it's configured now with the drive around really, really works, the way the drive around is set up. And,
And, I mean, if we use last week as an example, we had 56 cars go through. So we don't see how it ties up because it's kind of enclosed in that area. So let's just imagine that the pantry's down there and it's a summer day and we have that many cars lined up,
Well, you're talking about serving 56 total over the
56
over
cars.
the
Yeah,
5 hours
Or
of
2 or 3.
operation.
2 hours and 2.5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Right in midday.
So I completely understand and empathize and everything with permanent solution, not moving
Right.
sort of thing, but I guess I don't understand the possibility of a temporary relocation during this construction phase or investigation phase. I don't know.
well, the privacy.
It would be, I can see that, but
Well,
in a temporary basis, this is as the chair, the food pantry said, it's an emergency organization in an emergency.
Well, in privacy, and I understand the need for privacy, but there's many food pantries that don't have any privacy. So it's a luxury to have that.
Well, that seems pretty private down there too. to
I
me.
agree.
But I guess I'm kind of back to my question. One way or the other, food pantry is gonna have to have a temporary place. Whether we save the classrooms and make a permanent home for them there, or we scrape the site completely and build something else that houses them there. So where are they going to be in the meantime?
That's
In the
during the
meantime-
time the construction is going on in classrooms is the time frame you're talking.
Yes, and in the meantime, we have a portable setting down there. So. Does it work as a temporary location?
well, I like to hear from people directly on that. Well, I think there's.
Well, it sounds like the elevation is the biggest issue.
No, I don't
for-
think we've actually talked about a temporary relocation of this, to them at this point. We talked about a permanent relocation. We haven't talked about temporary relocation, the confusion it causes as well. I'm sorry that I do not see it as a luxury. I don't think anything connected with the food pantry is a luxury. So
I don't know, is that anything about luxury?
I use the word.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
So I just.
Isn't it just a reality though? That they're going to have to temporarily
It
relocate.
depends on what order we do things. I mean, if we brought in another building, you know, a Conex box, let's say, or a trailer, whatever you wanna call it. Like the one down there, and then move them from those classrooms into that, then there wouldn't be that big of a wall. So I don't know what the big long period you're talking about is.
Well,
Why?
so in the packet option, one doesn't require a temporary location, it would be at the end of August, when it's available, move the building over, get it all set up, and then they would move from the classrooms over to the.
That's if we just
If we
plop it in the same place, but
Let's say,
we don't care what a designer says about the park. or-
Yeah, and that's what option one packet has, it's just move it as is, install it, they don't need a temporary location to make storage, it's just go from their current temporary location to the permanent location of that.
And that's not knowing whether the classroom would be removed, if that's the case. I would guess the classroom would be going away,
Yeah.
Right.
and then I'm not sure where we're at with the whole privacy thing.
I mean, the reality is, anybody that's in that line, anybody driving down, I mean. And Bruce brought up. In an email that, you know, once if we put another modular there, then that's going to once again obstruct that view. That could be a part of the park. Out to the river.
Well, the rest of the whole park is a view.
Yeah.
The whole thing is, and you walk 10 feet north and you have a view, it's.
Right.
I don't think the view is really in my view's not like a selling point of that particular structure, it's.
I didn't say it was selling point.
No, it just, in response to that email, it's just.
Yeah.
In the park, if you get different views from different locations within that park, it's just the reality of nature.
So maybe it would be a good idea for us to review the timeline of the proposals and when they're coming in.
I know, the 18th, we received the proposals. I mean, you're talking about in the architects.
Right.
Yeah, received the proposals on the 18th. We have interviews the week of June 1st. June 26th, we will have gone through our process and do a notice of intent to award. That starts a protest period. Protest period ends on July 3rd. Bring it to the city council July 14th. And we commence contract activities on July 22nd.
So at the end of July, we'll have an idea of what their design is.
We know who we're working with.
And then
But
Just
start
roughly.
the process.
how long?
It depends on a lot of things, but I would say you're looking at least 3 to 4 months. And what it is, some is that they go out and they do some work and then we wait 2 weeks to have a meeting and. You know, where kind of things happen and it ends up just going into months.
But by the first of the year, there should be a design.
I would say so.
A long ways down the line for the food pantry to be in an emergency situation.
But if they, I mean. Nothing would be done with where they are right now, and like I said, I think that looking into getting those. Portable washing stations, they've got nice ones. That would be more sufficient than what they're dealing with now.
You still have to get rid of the water.
And they're serviced like a Schultz, yeah, they're serviced, so the wastewater would go, there's a place for the wastewater. and they would come siphon that off.
Okay, I wasn't worried, that was the.
Yeah. So, and,
Into that, I think we can-
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
yeah, is that something maybe Chris could do, or maybe, I mean,
Sure.
I don't have time to look into.
No, we'll do some research on that, and we'll work with,
Do you wanna make
food pantry.
Yeah. Okay. One.
You are correct. In that no one has talked to us about the items that you brought up. I understand that this is a council and I can't come in with my board and sit down and talk to you. Because that's not how public meetings work. But there are many issues with the food pantry that other than our dual representative, our dual hat wearer, has asked Ed of us about. Has came to me and asked me about. We have thoroughly researched every option from wash sinks to elevations to how long we can supply food, how long we can keep our clients not terrified that we're going to close. Which this meeting right now, if one of them is watching, I just want it to be clear, we would figure out some way somehow to make sure that people have food. A food pantry in Cannon Beach might be some kind of, sorry, I'm trying with that, vague concept. It's not a vague concept to the families that we feed. The location where we are, obviously, it's been there forever in a temporary location for almost 17 years. They were in the church for a while. We just celebrated our 17th anniversary, full well, doing the best we can to take care of people. The reason why we weren't big on this location back before, when people were we were trying to come up with different locations, is the traffic. Is the, the view, people not being seen all the time. And just us getting people in and out. Our trucks are loading our people. Our average volunteer is 63 years old. So, we're all putting stuff out, we're doing the best that we can. But wanting to climb up ramps and things, it's dangerous. We did the freezer trucks and the refrigerator trucks. We got through that without anybody being hurt. My main goals is to make sure people are fed and the volunteers are safe. We are under a temporary, permit, not just from the city, but also from the Oregon Food Pantry. How long that can go on, I do not know. Because if any restaurant or any grocery store in this town didn't have running water, even though you're not preparing food, you're not gonna stay open long. It's not gonna happen. That's what we're doing. We are a grocery store for our clients. So I understand things work slowly and there's many decisions that have to be made, but if you have questions or I mean, I just don't know how to sit down with you to explain to you how much work we put into this. And we are open to any questions, we are open to any discussions. We pay our way, we pay all of our bills. If that has to change in the future for the building that we have, the where we are serviced by the city, like the school or the art society or the library, if we are going to be looked at differently and have a different business model. MOU, we don't have any of those things right now. That's what we're working for with our tree balance. That's okay. We can discuss that. We can look at that. Our board is open to looking at anything. Our main priority is to be sure that people are not afraid we're gonna close,
that we don't miss a Wednesday, and that our volunteers are safe. So if you,
I think we're all in agreement on that. So I don't,
Yeah. I
I
think,
mean, we're trying to figure out how to keep the food pantry going, recognizing that there may need to be construction there. So I don't think that anybody is saying that the food pantry should go away for, even a week.
and I think that, I know that you're a volunteer organization, so are we, and, but, and I think our average age is the same, although we don't physically work as hard. And I'm not trying to make light of it, but I think if you put your thoughts down in writing and gave them to us and helped us with a solution, if you had one, that might be beneficial to your organization and to ours. Because then we would have a better idea of where you are. Questions that are being brought up tonight. Sometimes it's easier to sit down, and think about those and write out how you feel, but I certainly am I'm on the same page as Gary, and like he said, everybody else, that closing the food pantry is not an option. I mean, that's not something that any of us would ever want to see happen. It's just how do we get over this hump without too many hiccups. There's gonna be hiccups, right? There just unfortunately will be hiccups, but how do we get over it? And maybe you could help us brainstorm and help us come up with some ideas. Or not.
I think that the thought that we have it, that we don't spend a majority of our time coming up with ideas and solutions for the problems that we're in is
I think I'm sorry, Tina, because I am not trying to discount your feelings in absolutely any way. But I think that it would be good for us to see those feelings in writing, because, and maybe not your feelings, but some of the solutions, the things that you thought of that could help us make a decision.
And I can do that tomorrow. It's never been asked for.
Well, I know, and that's kind of why I'm bringing it up, and Lisa brought up some good questions, some good things too, that you haven't been asked. So I think it would be good for us to know that.
I think you told us about the location and why you don't want to change locations, and I totally get that. Maybe you wrote it out again for the council, a list of why moving over there is not gonna go further. I mean, I can see clear why it won't, but that is one person.
Even temporary.
Yeah, even temporary,
So somehow we have to figure out how to keep them in the same place
yes.
without closing while the entire site is being developed. I mean, that's the conundrum here.
Well, what do you mean while the entire site is with that? Well, I mean the park? Okay, I think park is a great idea. I think food pantry is more important than the park. So I want to see the food pantry be put as a priority in front of the park. That's what I want.
So we do option one, it's in fact, we move the building we have over there. And then design the park around the building.
That might be an option. If it's the only one, I don't know if it's the only one. It's the only one in our packet.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's the only.
No,
one.
I agree with that.
Your creative thinking, yes.
And we would need to find out if it can be lowered, which is fine, I'm not arguing the point, I'm just saying, finding out if it can be lowered, how much lower. How, and the ramps, then there's going to be an additional cost for ramps, because the ramps will change.
And what would that sort of pricing look like if we were to move, like even if we were to move that as a temporary container, to move it to temporary location on site right there to get them running water and all of that stuff.
The cost to move it from there to,
Yeah,
On the street.
and continue renting
that was
as it
the,
is and shooting.
choose a later date if we purchase it and do the final installation.
I think we need some more options, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like we come up with like five other options.
It'd be 256,000 to buy it and move it. And then, 4,200 or 4,100 to rent it per month,
Mhm.
continue to rent.
And 10,000 to move it plus.
No, so it's like 80, so
83,000.
83,000 to move it.
That's the 200 and whatever he quoted includes moving it.
No, it's running gear removal, tie down, all of those, the skirting installation, steel pier foundation material, those, if you're moving it as a temporary facility, installed in the same manner that it's installed currently.
Mhm.
It's the full 80,000.
And then if we move, and that doesn't include site work and utilities.
Right.
But if we did option one, door number one, can we, then is there a place to tie the wastewater into?
No.
So what happened
We
to
could
it?
pump out a tank. It was never working very good. It was a pump system that ran all the way like over to First Street. There was always a problem.
So we had a building that had running water and it had wastewater and you could flush the toilet and you could do all of those things. But the big B word, but it's just gone now.
It's not on now, no, that would be part of the demo work that's set to start on Monday, is removal of that infrastructure, that injector pump system.
So would that have to be removed right away or could it stay in limbo for a minute?
Public Works has a strong preference to remove that system, but no, to answer your question, it does not have to go.
It could go away later, but it could stay there for a minute for a temporary solution. If we chose option one, then they would have, I know you don't like this, but it's an option.
You'd have to look at it if it's possible. I don't know what condition.
Yeah.
If you're going with option one, we would highly prefer that we just stick with the gray water tanks that are under it and have it serviced instead of connecting to that existing.
Is that what's under it now?
That's what's working.
Correct.
That's what's working for us now. We don't have
Yeah.
a sewer system.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was thinking the whole, I got confused.
Yeah.
So there's gray water under there.
Yeah,
and
gray
that-
water tank and it gets pumped and serviced inside. I think for this unit right now, it's like every 2 days, something to that effect.
Yeah,
Lots of people are using it.
Right.
In a situation like this, I don't know, someone came up with an estimate of like maybe once every 2 weeks, it would need to get serviced.
I figured that it was about $500 a month.
is that about what it is to
Yeah.
service?
It's about 4,000 now.
For
And
the
that
two
is
buildings.
with 2 buildings and with all the people and all that.
Mhm.
If you're using it 1 or 2 days a week. Most of the time, it's just in, the volunteers, so you're not gonna have that, won't be that heavy, I'd say in $500 a month range for for pumping.
For a temporary solution until a permanent, or would it just be left that way? Would it be cheaper to leave it that way than try and tie into the storm drain?
Oh, we would never tie into the storm drain.
Or what, not. Sorry,
Well,
wastewater.
You're talking about, and what Eric is talking about, is moving the portable over there, spending the 256,000 plus whatever siting. Is available as a temporary location.
Well, that would be a permanent location.
Okay, so you're talking about a permanent.
I mean,
location.
if you're gonna move, if you're gonna spend that kind of money, you might as well just make that permanent, right?
Is that what you're,
I mean, I don't know that it's
Yeah, I
the
mean,
right idea.
I still have an issue with the ramping situation
Mhm.
and how far down it can potentially go and.
Yeah, we need to know
We
that.
can find out.
Because what we're in right now is a portable. That really was a portable, correct?
That was put in 40 years ago that didn't have near the standards,
And
right?
I'm just saying that's when they lowered it, so,
Yeah,
that's a possibility.
you could maybe have a basement you didn't mention.
Excuse me?
I said maybe you have a base on it.
No, I don't know about that. Oh, you mean under, no, I don't know. I don't wanna know what's under there.
You're gonna find out.
Yeah, yeah, be down there on Monday, oh, I won't. My house. Okay, all right, we are, as I said, we are able to get, you want thoughts from us, we can do that. We need to raise funds, we can, we have lots of options to look at. We just need to know what those are and take off my pantry hat and put on a personal hat or residence hat. I don't even think that's allowed right now, but I just did it. I would hate to see us be tied again to what the final result is with that property. That's why we're in the situation we are now, because we were tied to what happened to that property. And that's why our building was didn't get fixed, because it didn't need to be fixed, because it was gonna go away. So I've lived here for 9 years now, and this park has been on the topic of conversation at least most of that time. And it still looks the same way it did the first day I was going to this town. So I really hate to.
Well, actually, it was worse.
I really hate to have the final outcome of the park tied to feeding the people in this community that could be fed. Thank you, appreciate it. And we'll thank you some information.
Thank you.
Tom, you missed your item.
Why not the talk? I think at this point, the only comment that.
Are you speaking?
I'm telling you, you missed the Tourism and Arts Commission topic.
We passed.
Oh, I know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't asking you or your opinion on something else.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry I missed that. The reason is that I had to go home before I came. The elf were guarding my front door. My house.
Nice to be protected. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna find out about,
I don't bring
Good
it
land.
changes just as quick as we can.
okay, where, yeah. Anything else? On that subject?
Don't have anything.
You ready? No? Ready to move on? Yes. Okay, so next we have the monthly status report. Anybody have any questions on that?
I have a question for Chris, and maybe Bruce has the answer. This intersection here, everything else got final pavement done. Do we have a date on when the intersection will get cleaned up?
I don't have an exact date, it will be tentatively the week of 5/25.
Oh, so are they done doing the flushing and everything that they were doing?
Yep.
At that intersection, okay.
Yeah, so there's a number of areas in town that'll have final paving with the second, this intersection behind us, under Sunset. And then Sunset off and on ramp, Warren off and on ramp,
Oh, they'll do all that at the same time.
that week of 5/25 to finish out the week. And there'll be notifications, 14-day notifications that get sent out from the ODOT, Sunset and Warren. But in here, you just go to the website and I have it all on the ribbon.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Other questions on the monthly status report?
Well, it talks about the wastewater tanks, and I bet those are those gray water tanks that are under the buildings. Is that right? Or no?
What section was that?
Page 4 of 8. It's the very bottom. Am I wrong? Oh, no, I'm wrong. Never mind, nothing.
Never mind.
Okay, any quick question for police chief. I think I've asked this question so many times and the answer never makes sense to me, but I'll try one more time. So under station activity, all the different things that it says 2026 and 2025, is that just for the month?
That's. So that's up to this, so for 2026, it's from January to our current, basically the end.
Oh,
of
okay,
April.
all right, all right. That
Yeah,
makes
so
sense. And
you're
the
looking
same,
you're looking at, basically the month of April is what you're looking at there for both 2025 and 2026.
okay, all right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, next, mayor communications. I did attend, the League of Oregon Cities, small city meeting in Manzanita on Friday. We had a nice crowd and they took tours of their new city hall. Just want to remind everyone that on, Friday from 2 to 5, we're gonna have our police department grand opening. We do expect all councilors to be here. Anybody want to attend?
I don't know, but yeah.
Already at 1:25.
Oh, I'm trying to remember.
Janae asked for volunteers to help with greeting and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, but we'd like you to be part of the ceremony too.
I'm gonna be here volunteering, yeah.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Anybody have anything for counselor communications?
Well, I don't know if this counselor communications are good of order. I've had several people come to me regarding the SDRs and getting the cap finished. And I believe that is coming to council in June. Is that correct? July?
No, it will go before, we're gonna ask you at your June meeting. Or, if you're, ready to push that forward, with the housekeeping.
So the joint housing meeting is when we're going to make a
At that,
decision?
yeah, the housing, we're gonna ask you guys if you're okay with both pushing the short-term rental cap, the housekeeping items, and, anything else that you don't want from the housing things.
Because I thought, Jeff, that we have already decided as council months ago that we wanted that. I think,
And you had not, you decided to ask the planning commission to move that forward. It hasn't gone for you to any kind of vote. You've initiated, it's not even an application yet.
We decided,
Yeah.
that it needed to move forward.
yes,
And it's what happened is Gary and Eric and I all set a number, and then you and Barb set a number. And Bruce chimed in on that, and so it came to be a lower number that went before than what the three of us agreed on, but we did all agree that we need to cap the
Right.
STRs.
At one.
Is it going to planning commission because it's tied in with a whole bunch of other things?
Right now, it is not. They have students, and they're waiting for their meeting in June to discuss that and moving forward.
wait a minute,
It's gonna be 1 month difference either way. It's probably the same.
I'm so confused, Jeff. So the planning commission is waiting for us to come up with a cap, and then they're gonna review our cap?
No, they're not waiting for you to on this, their cap, they're waiting for you because I wanted to, instead of going with 3 different notices to the general public about changes, I wanted to package those into one thing. So we're waiting 1 month to make that decision, okay? And that's all it was, and so we can do that if we wait till the June date to do that.
And what are the 3 things?
Short-term rental cap, that all of our housekeeping things that have been waiting now for about 3 years to go through. And then whatever you don't, you're already going to be putting on your next agenda after that June meeting, to your agenda to approve the housing ordinance change, right? Remember, we came back to you about, whether we can amend those and extend those and do more. I'm going to be coming with you at that June meeting to ask which ones you want to do more on, and then that language comes to you for your decision, your final decision.
for the housing stuff, whatever shakes out of that, that doesn't, that's gonna be placed with these over there.
But we can do that, we should do the cap on an STR separately before then. It doesn't have to be part of the whole
Yes,
housing ordinance.
it does, I mean, you know, so we don't have to renotice it.
So I have a question.
Yep.
On the noticing. Is there a reason that you want to, bundle a whole bunch of stuff together? Because every time when that happens, it gets kicked down the road and kicked down the road and kicked down the
We're not
road.
gonna allow it.
Is it a,
Down the road anymore. We're not gonna allow that.
well, that's what I thought, but what, you know, if a third of this we don't agree on, are you gonna say, well, we need to wait for the general noticing when we need to be able to make, and is it because the general noticing costs money?
It costs time and money, yeah.
Well, can you,
But that's not the main reason. Main reason is because I don't, whenever we go out with notice, everyone in this population, then they're going to be coming, with pushback and it just raises their, you know, discomfort in the queue, because they're getting notices every other month that things are changing to their ordinances. It's better to do it at one time and get that done, because when that causes, then that's what causes the pushback and starting to, push things along and push it back.
So what if people don't agree on all that whole package, but we all agree that we want to have STRs? We don't have, if they're not trying to get.
Yeah, like exactly. You can have that discussion.
So we could,
Do that.
we would have the option to have a discussion of, okay, well, STR cap, but these other things, they've all been noticed together. We can make sure that happens right now, and then, and it just takes us another 2 weeks or a month to finalize the discussion on the other couple items in there.
well, and I think that, I understand what you're saying about the noticing, but I also think that this community has waited and waited and waited and waited and waited for things to happen. And if they see things are happening, then, I mean, are you gonna get pushback on things? Of course, you're gonna get pushback, and we don't always agree. But if somebody's getting a notice every month, I have a feeling that the people that are paying attention are gonna finally be like, good, something's happening. If we're actually moving forward.
Yeah, and I agree, and that's what we wanted to do, but I would like to see that, you know, 3 times, in the next 6 months, every 6 months, we get everything done. And so, you know, at that clip, it would, you know, I would think we would get done with all of our ordinance changes in the next year and a half.
Okay, well, as long as we get to talk about the STR.
Yeah,
In June and get.
we're all frustrated about it.
Yeah.
It's understandable why everybody else is frustrated about it. You can't even move it.
The last council, we voted on, we decided we wanted to do it. The council before you guys were even on, if that last council, we said STR, it was unanimous.
And we're being held up. Because
Just, so,
we're being held up for a reason that I don't think is, I mean, I know you just got back, Jeff, and I'm not, please don't take this personal, but I feel like we're bottlenecking all this stuff, and then it never goes anywhere. And I know, Barb, that you just said we're not gonna allow that to happen anymore, but
I would just say, and this is just me, okay? But I was here the first time, and we had, for almost 5 years, and we had 2 short-term rental ordinance changes in those 4 years. So yes, it does happen, and it does change, and it's gonna happen again. So I'm just saying, we're gonna try to do this and package it, it's gonna be a 1 month difference. For either way you go, because of no.
package, I keep hearing package, and I just don't think, I think we're in a position right now that we need to stop trying to package things, and we need to actually show our constituents that we are pushing to move forward. And that's just.
well, it has to be noticed for a period of time, so it's
Right.
not gonna happen in June anyway at this point, because
Well-
we don't have notice period. As long as we act on it at the June meeting. just, I don't know about the rest of it, but just that.
So, if something is noticed, Jen, if something is noticed. And I know, at least I know you asked this question already, but I want to clarify it. Sorry. If something is noticed, there's 6 items that are noticed. We decide to, can we only act on one of those, or do we have to act on all 6 of those, or can we move things to?
So you're talking about the housing amendments and this whole package, so when it goes through the planning commission process, they're gonna make recommendations to you guys on the STR caps and the housekeeping. You guys already have the housing amendments that you're gonna be making the decision on. Missy said you can make a certain amount of changes on the housing amendments.
But we have to act on everything that's noticed.
You would have to act on the recommendations given to you from the planning commission.
And there's gonna be a recommendation for short-term rentals.
So if we agree with one thing and we don't agree with 3 other things, then those have to be sent back to planning.
Or continue.
Or continue.
But we can continue.
Or drop.
Yeah, or just say no. I mean, in other words, we don't have to act on all of them simultaneously, but they're all noticed. So the public knows that we're going to be talking about it. That's all.
And I understand that part. I wanted to just be clear
No, we're gonna
going
going
into, okay.
on this.
And then, of course, we have to, when we continue, we have to continue to date certain each time. Like, so the other.
After they reach you for, yes, after they've been noticed and reach you, then we have to continue that delivery.
Date certain each time.
Because if you don't do it to a date concern, you have to renotice everything.
Okay.
So like, we use Sheldon for an example, like the last time he did to a specific date, so then we didn't have to renotice, so it'll be the same process with all of these.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on counselor communications?
Oh, we covered that with our counselor communications, huh?
Oh, how do we counsel?
Well, I
I didn't
all
know-
for good of the order.
I said I didn't know which one it was.
Coffee with the counselors tomorrow.
Yes, bring your solutions to the food pantry and short-term rentals and dunes and everything to coffee with the counselors tomorrow at 10.
Then I had one thing, I saw Oregon State, Parks adopted their new language for drone usage. So it is now against state ordinance to take off or land drones in state parks, and that includes on state beaches.
Oh, it doesn't include beaches, I didn't see
That's
that.
what the verbiage that I found said that, so that's,
So,
it's on private property, you can still fly over the beach, they can't take off or land on the beach.
so,
Unless there's special permits and special use emergency, there's
yeah.
carve-outs for it, but just general usage.
But that brings me to I'd like to have put back on the agenda, the idea of adopting new regulations to prohibit the takeoff and landing of drones within the city limit, which would help the state would help the beaches prohibition as well. And I reached out to Chris Wald, who's a environmental law professor, and to the head of the educational component for Oregon Bird Alliance, to ask them their advice on how to move forward on that, because they're both very much in favor of seeing that happen. And was given some model language from other ordinances, for example, Colorado. You can fly if you get a special permit for specific things like mapping or some kind of, photography project or something like that, but not just randomly taking off and landing within the city limits. Because that doesn't help the beaches at all, because if you can take off and land up in the S curves, then you can fly, anywhere you want on the beach from there. So it doesn't stop the flying of drones over the beach. So I just would like to see that on the agenda. I'm not an expert on drones, but I would try and see if I can get maybe the fellow from the Oregon Bird Alliance to talk about it. Because he has a lot more knowledge. He and Chris both testified in front of state hearings, on numerous occasions. And I would like to put that somewhere on the agenda.
You want it on the June work session?
I could try, they could speak on Zoom, so that would be fine, yeah, they wouldn't have to drive in from Portland. Unless one of them has a class that night that he's teaching, or Chris might, but I don't know.
Okay, I've got June 9th, and then, if it's something that can't happen on the 9th, just let me know, and we can look at other date options.
Okay, thanks, that would be so cool to hear from them. Okay, anything else for good of the order? Yes. When are we gonna have educational materials or an idea of what will be the educational materials for ELF education?
Is it on May 12th?
Is it on May 12th?
On May 12th.
Is there a presentation then?
Yep.
And then when are we going to have on the agenda the idea of adopting, the possibility of adopting regulations as far as how close you can get to the elk? And, maybe a stronger no feeding elk
So
ordinance?
I have that scheduled. The goal was to have it to you at the next week's work session, but it's gotten a little busy and we haven't had it. But I do have it scheduled for the June 9th one. And I call it the stay away from elk ordinance language.
Okay.
So it is.
Excellent, that's good.
Yeah.
And one more thing, that recycle thing that got me very excited when I heard about the ability to recycle, styrofoams and other plastics that we can't recycle in our own recycle. So can we get that on the agenda as well? And how much it would cost the city, or it seemed like he was saying no cost. But I know that there were some space constraints and stuff, so I just would like to have that on the agenda to talk about. The word potential.
Yeah, I can work with Dan Blue on the specifics of that program and timing and footprint and what would be needed, what they provide, and I can provide that information at an upcoming meeting.
Oh, super, that's great.
Yeah, and I wouldn't think that we would do a whole presentation on that to begin with.
We don't need a PowerPoint.
I won't do a PowerPoint.
Experts. Great tips.
But to know, cause I think are those big?
I think he said like eight by 20, with a couple of parking slots, and how you bring it in. It sort of matters what happens to the portables over there. But yeah, I think we could start those conversations. Jen, is June too soon? Can I get it to July or through?
You can do June or July, whatever works best. Just Barb will not be here on the June 2nd. But everyone will be here on the June 9th for council.
Would July work to bring it to a work session?
Perfect.
RMA?
July has less items.
So-
Right, that's fine. Okay, yeah, that's cool, because we have plenty going on. Okay, anything else?
I would like to have some questions answered, and hopefully they can be brief, and if Tim would stop putting chairs away.
He does it so discreet.
Building fund, continuing to grow,
No,
do you want,
if you look at my new pro forma today, it's actually going down.
okay. For Jeff, the idea of SEC charges on ADUs.
Just like I said, and you guys can make those policies and say, we're gonna say no to this, okay? And that's some of the suggestions we're talking about at the housing meeting. You know what I mean? You guys can make that decision, but you have to, decide as a group that you want to do that.
Well, we charge those, single family home, right?
We charge, yeah.
Yeah, so you're kind of setting two classes.
But on somebody adding an ADU,
Yeah, you guys can.
For a property that's already developed, it seems ridiculous, but.
Yeah.
You can't, I believe, do that, and so we'll bring you the language or, have which we require to do that.
okay, well, I wanna have that discussion.
Yeah.
So,
And-
putting that on the agenda?
Is
Or
that,
is
is
it
that
in the
part of the
budget?
presentation in June already?
Oh, that's discussion.
Jeff, isn't that part of the give back for building an ADU for active rental already? Isn't it?
Right, okay.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, it's just, we get these suggestions, it's like, we're working on
Well,
it.
someone has to read
Uh,
what is in the proposal.
And there have been a lot of comments about the dunes. And emergency access. And I make the mistake of looking at social media way too much. And some of the comments and a lot of hammering at the city because the city is not fulfilling its duty to keep emergency access open.
Not true.
So I guess, to me, it's like, okay, the difference between what the city is responsible for doing. And then you get into land where we need state parks authorization, I'm assuming. Can you elaborate on that and?
The recent situation where the truck, dealing with the truck. The road, the access that the city takes care of is in great shape. It's when you get to the bottom of it, and then you have to drive along Breaker's Point, there's no sand there. There's no road.
It's either creek or it's like that.
Yeah, yeah, so
Or there's-
they were, in that situation, they just, once you got down the access point, you couldn't get it.
And what would it take to actually do something there?
Major regrading of that whole area and possibly additional sand.
Moving the river.
Pardon?
Moving the river.
Yeah,
So,
right, yeah, you move the river, but it's gonna come back.
we don't have the chief here, but I was just wondering about emergency access for Chapman Point off of 7th. Is that an option?
For vehicles?
I mean, already it's pretty open and level.
Until those last 40-foot drop again. Right. It's good, you have to,
It's really soft.
you have to have a low enough angle that it's soft sand. You can get traction on and off. And so somewhere, I mean, over near the Sacagawea statue would probably be easier. Cause it's a lower location, but up it's like a seven, but it's a substantial, it's flat for a bit.
Really?
Drops off heavily, so you'd have to grade all the way back.
Seems like that's the ones that's almost just a slight incline, where I know on 5th, it's like.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if that's an option and maybe it's not, but.
You make a breeze or whatever you wanna call it to get the right angle. And you're doing it the size of steep. Hold the story.
So what has to happen when we're grading dunes as far as state parks authorization?
We have to get authorization to go on the beach. When we got more,
Well, they have, yeah, they have not allowed us. to do that.
yeah,
We
the
need-
answer's no, when you reach out.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's as far as I can take that one, I just, it just seems like, we had a lot of comments about what the city's not doing, and my understanding is that we have been keeping the access open of what we can control,
Right,
but, we can't control what state parks allows us to do or not, but,
mhm. Especially if you have to go on the beach to do the work. That's a work on the permit.
okay, that's all.
Okay, anything else? Okay,